The film is called Bitch Slap, and Saskatchewan's own Julia Voth is one of the 3 vixen stars in this sexy B-movie. Voth has been a model in Tokyo and New York, but this is her first foray into film. She grew up on a farm near Hepburn, but now lives in Los Angeles, and that's where we've reached Julia Voth this afternoon. Hi, Julia.
Hi there.
So tell me about your character, Trixie.
Trixie is described as down on her luck stripper with a heart of gold, which they all are. All strippers just have hearts of gold, don't they? and so she's basically the bait of the operation. And there's these 3, like you said, the 3 vixens find themselves in the middle of the desert searching for $200 million worth of uncut diamonds. Chaos ensues. A cop shows up who might not be a cop. These crazy characters come and go, and basically there's a lot of action. It's kind of like a thinking man's exploitation film. It's kind of like what Russ Meyer would be doing right now if he had, the technology that we do. We shot on the red camera, so the special effects are kind of like Sin City 300, and it's really cool. It's very stylized, and it's really smart. It's a really well-written script, so that's actually really what drew me to it.
Nice. Well, you mentioned action. So what kind of action are these kind of like gunfights? Or are they more like are you doing some combat here in the film?
Well, Zoe Bell trained us, and she's Uma Thurman's stunt double in Kill Bill 1 and 2. She works with Tarantino a lot. And so basically it's like hand-to-hand combat. There's a lot of fight scenes. And my character actually has less of the 3 of us. But there's, I think the fight scene is 12 minutes long. Wow.
Had you ever done anything like that before?
Well, growing up on a farm kind of prepared me for action. I have 2 brothers, so,
So you're used to a little bit of hand-to-hand combat.
Happen in the living room kind of prepared me for it, so.
So what was it like to portray Trixie?
It was a lot of fun. It was, I think with any character, you learn a lot about yourself when you're going through a character. I mean, she's on the outside, she's very sweet and she's innocent and she's, just is incredibly hot and doesn't even know it. And she's just sort of like, tiptoes around the desert and doesn't want to break a nail and sort of, but the thing about Trixie, and I don't want to give anything away, but she has an incredible arc in the film. And it was, for me, it was more fun, I think, to play that and transform, throughout the movie. So it's definitely when you see the film, you kind of overlook her a little bit, and then at the end, you get a little surprised, which is fun, which was fun to play. It was great to be able to play 2 characters in one. So
great. Well, no, this was your first film as well. So what was that like acting in your first film?
Yeah, it was actually my 5th theatrical audition I'd ever been on. I moved to LA like on a whim. I was modeling in New York, and I just, New York was great, the city was, but I was living in a model's apartment, like 8 other girls, and I was like, I gotta get out of here, so I moved to LA, and I started acting, and it was great. I mean, I was very naive going into it, and I knew that, and I definitely, there's always something going on in your own life that you can put into a character, and for me, that was it, and I put my I guess naiveness into Trixie, and it was fun. It was the most fun I've ever had and the hardest I've ever worked all at the same time.
Oh wow! What was the hardest part?
Well, we shot 4 weeks in the Mojave Desert, so just working with the elements and being on set in the desert every single day. In the first 2 weeks it was so cold, and in the last 2 weeks it was so hot, and at 4 o'clock the winds would pick up, and they'd be doing your close-up, and the wind would be blowing from behind, and your hair would be in your face, and you have glycerin and fake blood and real sweat and everything in your lip gloss, and you can't really even open your eyes because there's sand everywhere, and it's not too pretty. You're like, oh my god, I look like crap right now. This is horrible. But we had a great director, and he assured us that it looked amazing, and it turned out beautiful. You would never know that we were dealing with that around us in film. Like on the screen, it looks great. Beautiful. It looks amazing. But just working with the elements for me was probably the hardest thing.
Oh, okay, so that's the hard part. What was the most fun?
Probably. Well, it was the best because it was a dream come true for me. It was something I always wanted to do, and moving to LA and being here, it really was just a dream come true. And the first time we showed it to a real audience was in TIFF in Toronto, and that for me was it was incredible because my parents were there, and just the whole thing was really I feel so fortunate to have been a part of it. So I can't really pick one part that was like the best. It was just, as a whole, it was incredible.
What was it like watching the film, knowing your parents were and family were watching it?
Well, the very first time, it was kind of funny. We had a cast and crew screening about a year ago here in LA, and my mom came, my brothers came, my sister came, and we rented a limo. We got all dressed up, and we showed up at the theater. We're like, it's like pretending it was like this big premiere or whatever. And we just like had champagne and in the limo, and we just like kind of made a little event out of it. It was so fun, and it was just amazing to have my family there. I have the best family ever. They're so supportive, always have been, and I know I wouldn't be where I am without them. And especially my mom, she's always, she like held my hand through the whole movie. And when I first saw myself on screen, I burst into tears because it was just it was real. At that moment, I knew that it was real, and it happened. I was like, oh my God, this is so crazy. And basically I held her hand the whole time. She was like, honey, you did so good. You did so good. I was like, oh my God.
Were there any scenes where you were kind of cringing knowing your mom's watching it?
Yes, there's one scene between me and Aaron Cummings, and it's a lesbian love scene basically, and there's no nudity. It's but it is pretty intense. And I was kind of like, oh God, my brothers are gonna see this, my dad is gonna see this. I was just like, oh my God. I was like, I didn't want. I mean, I know everyone, the masses are gonna see it, but when your family is gonna see it, you're just I'm like biting my finger. I don't think I had fingernails after that actually. And so I was watching it through the cracks of my fingers. I was like, ooh, like, kind of nervous. And my mom kind of patted me on the shoulder. She's like, you did so good, honey. It was so believable. Good job. And I was like, well, if I get mom's approval, then I know I did good. So.
Oh, that's great. It sounds like you have a very supportive mom. That's what we want to hear,
she's my best friend for sure. Hi, Mom. I know she's listening.
That's great. Well, hey, so what's next for you after this?
I actually just got, I'm signing the contract actually tomorrow for another film I'm doing. It's called Lilith. It's an adaptation of Dante's Inferno, and I'm playing, I guess, the Dante of the movie. My name is Sarah, and basically it's just sort of, it's a really cool modern twist on the classic story. So it's really exciting. I'm going to be shooting in Cleveland for about 3 weeks. I'm leaving in a couple of days to do pre-production and rehearsals and fittings and all that kind of stuff. But it's going to be great. It's like a psychological thriller, and it's a lot of it's going to be a pretty emotional movie, but I'm really excited. It's going to be challenging, so
great.
I like to do things that are going to be challenging.
Well, Julia, thank you so much for joining us today, sharing your stories with us, and it's been great talking to you.
It was great talking to you, too. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.
That's Julia Voth. She's from Hepburn, Saskatchewan. You can see her in a recently released film called Bitch Slap, which is now available on DVD.